What is inequality?
The condition in which some people claim to have more rights than others, a condition of which slavery is present. This would mean that rights are not respected as a birthright and are instead treated as privileges, assuming that some people have the right to grant and revoke others' rights, assuming that those with this authority are more human or a special kind of human in order to do so. So not only does somebody have the right to give others rights, therefore having more rights over other people, they are actually telling other people how to live their own lives because they're saying this is what you're allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do, but I'm allowed to do whatever I want because I can decide for you what you are allowed to do or not allowed to do. And what if I break it myself? Who's gonna stop me from breaking it myself? There's and then you say, well, maybe there's got to be somebody who's watching them. But then you create this hierarchical system that starts to create a system of less rights, more rights, more rights, and you start to question, well, is there equality? Going back to our previous video we talked about. So this creates a dynamic where those of less rights are not allowed to conduct actions that those of more rights could exercise. You require permission to be free from the chosen, and the most freedom is for the chosen. For slavery in the past, the granting for the freedom of slaves was known as manumission or enfranchisement. So this was an actual thing where slaves on plantations would be given rights, would be given freedom if they did certain things, if they acquired the permission from their masters, the people who had the right to tell them what their rights are. And again, where is this imagined right? If we're saying these rights come from nature, you're born with these rights, what gives somebody that right to determine other people's rights, to rule over other people's rights and tell them what to do with their own life? Is that not their own property? That's why you have a master and slave system that of somebody giving rights and somebody having to ask for permission. And if you ask me, I don't think the slave should necessarily bow down to the master. And if we're talking about a business organization, it's different as a hierarchy, right? It's not a involuntary hierarchy where you're forced and you're punished into being a slave. It's totally different. You're participating because you're going to get some sort of benefit out of it, hopefully, and you're participating in it because you think that it's a good transaction, and it's a good interaction. But when you're a slave, you have no choice but to participate in a system against your will. And you may like that system. You may feel like you have to after a while. But that doesn't necessarily mean that system is right. What do you think, Aaron?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. You know, a lot of people, like you said, associate inequality with different little portions of humanity, with these little personas that we all walk around with, such as job inequality or class inequality or, sex inequality. And there's only truly one inequality, and that's human inequality.
Hmm. Yeah, because these are human rights. People want to apply rights to a lot of different things because you can. Rights. There's a whole list of rights, right? We can come up with endless amounts of rights because they're freedoms. I have the right to drink this cup of water. I have the right to, I don't know, pick up a pencil. Like I can go through an endless amount of rights, but it's really hard to come up with an endless amount of wrongs, right? Because there's certain things that everybody recognizes wrong, and now slavery is one of those things, at least chattel slavery. But there's other forms of slavery that can still persist where we still have this scenario of people giving more rights than others, right, Aaron? It still exists in different forms.
Yeah, of course. Of course. There have been a lot of people who have said slavery has never ended, it's only transitioned into different forms.
Yeah, and we have quotes and we have a lot more to prove that. So stay along with the series so you can see why that is.